Okay, so our webinar title for this morning is Paths to Become a Pilot. So let me introduce again myself. My name is Brito, and I have 15 years in experience in the aviation industry with current total flying time of around 7,800 hours. So my current job is an Airbus 320 line captain from AirAsia. So we have a question from Myra immediately. Why AirAsia? Why have I stayed for 7 years now and haven't transferred to any airline? So first of all, it's about the culture. Culture of AirAsia is very good. So they have a good safety culture and they respect everybody's opinions, then give opportunities for the worthy pilots or employees. So masarap yung ano doon, yung feeling. So I'm also easily contented. So if you're happy with your work, so yun. That's why I stayed with AirAsia for almost 7 years now. So I'm not only a line captain, actually. I'm a flight instructor, a ground instructor, a crew resource management instructor, safety instructor, a flight data analyst, and I also handle some of the pilot recruitment and also assist in the auditing from the AOSA. So it's from IATA. It's a standardized airline audit from all over the world. So by the way, if you have any questions along the way, please type it in the chat box. So I will gladly to answer that. So the usual question is, first of all, why did I want to become a pilot? Can anybody answer this? What airport is in the picture? Where is it located? You can answer through chat box or anybody can answer. Can anybody guess what airport is that? Okay, wow, very sharp. RPMD, complete. So it's the Bangoy International Airport here in Davao. Okay, so it all started there. My dream of becoming a pilot. So actually, I'm the first pilot in my family, and hopefully my newborn son will follow in my footsteps. My dream of actually becoming a pilot started in this airport when I was around 7 or 8 years ago. 7 or 8 years old. The first time my dad let me come with him to fetch my relatives to the airport, I was more excited actually to see the airplanes rather than my relatives. On that moment, I knew that I want to become a pilot when I grow up. And as a kid, I was one of the kids that typically point to any airplanes that fly through any house overhead. And good thing that my relatives and my very supportive dad worked very hard so that my dream of becoming a pilot would come true. Every time I go to work, the excitement is still there, and I get to do what I love, and the best part is you are getting paid. So the next slide, let's talk about the options for how to become a pilot. So we have a pilot career path. Do I have any questions? Okay, so we just answered the question. Okay, so let's talk about a pilot career path. I will set my career path as a first example. So I started my flight training way back 2005 and graduated 2009 with 200 flight hours on a commercial pilot's license with instrument rating. So that's the basic license you have as a requirement before you enter any general aviation or airline career. So how did I build up my flying experience? After graduating from my flying school, I flew general aviation, flying particularly cargo flights on the Beechcraft Baron for almost 2 years. So as you can see on the second picture, there's a green aircraft. So that's the Beechcraft Baron. And after that, my boss gave me a break and upgraded me to a captain for 1 year. So after gaining my hours of approximately 1,700 for 2 years, I joined Zest Air 2011 and became a first officer on an Airbus 320. And after that, AirAsia bought Zest Air. Then I was also transferred, and my total first officer experience was 5 years. Then after that, I became a captain, and the rest is history. Now, so was it an easy path? So later we will discuss. Okay, so how do you start if you want to pursue with your flying career? Okay, there are actually three options. So the first one is through a flying school. Letter B is through an airline cadet program. And letter C is you can join the Air Force. Okay, now let's discuss each the advantages and disadvantages. So for the flying school, uh, the advantages is you are trained to pass. However, readily you must be ready financially. For option B, the advantage is it's free for the airline cadet program. Yay! But the competition is very tough. The airline will only pick the very best of the candidates. For example, out of the 30,000 applicants, maybe they will only pick 10 for the year, something like that. So once you pass, you will have a salary deduction, and usually you have to serve for approximately 10 years to end your contract. Now for option C, joining the Air Force, it is also actually free. Yay, another yay. And the last time I checked with the Philippine Air Force is you need to serve them for approximately 20 years after your training before you can retire and proceed to your airline career. Okay. So the next part is how will you build up your flying time? So there are actually two options. So letter A is you can be a flight school instructor. So when your student flies and gains the flying time as an instructor, you can also gain the flying time with your student. So option B, in my case, I flew a general aviation flight. So I flew cargo for 2 years and built up my experience, my time. And after that, flew and applied to the airline. Okay. So far, any questions with the career path that is available now in the Philippines? Man? Okay. So let's move on to the next question. What are the challenges that you will expect before you're becoming a captain or during your flight career? Okay. Number one, you need to sacrifice actually your time and focus on your career. The term of Christmas, New Year, the Holy Week, the SEM break is not on my vocabulary actually because on that time, the airline industry is in a peak season. So probably you are flying if you are a pilot during those times. Believe it or not, I haven't spent Christmas or New Year with my mom and dad since I graduated from flight school. I haven't got home going there to Davao for approximately 10 years. 10 years now, and haven't spent any Christmas, New Year, etc. So you must be ready for anything. You must sacrifice your time and focus on your career. Number two, you need to be healthy. Actually, in my case, as an airline captain, we are required to have a medical checkup twice a year. So yeah, you need to stay fit. Uh, Comply with the minimum medical requirements, your eyes, your blood pressure, your everything. Okay, so number three, the third challenge is actually the training is tough. You need to have a mindset that being a pilot is what you love. You have to do everything in order to overcome every obstacle and learn every mistake. You must also learn from the mistakes of your colleagues then study, study, study. And don't be also contented on what knowledge you have. Try to go beyond your comfort zone and learn new skills. Like me, I'm not only a pilot, I'm also an instructor. I also handle safety concerns in my company, auditing, revising the manuals, recruiting new pilots. And that's a good example. So with this pandemic, actually, the airline industry is actually down, but slowly starting to recover. Now is the best time to start your pilot career, and by the time you finish building your flight experience, after 2 or 3 years, you can take off with your airline career. Okay? So far, do you have any questions for any options? By the way, on the airline career, there are three types also. There's a legacy carrier, a low-cost carrier, and a cargo airline. So the legacy carrier example is Philippine Airlines or Cathay Pacific, Qantas, or Singapore Airlines. Okay. In my case, I joined a low-cost airline like AirAsia. Okay. And there's also cargo flights if you're operating as a purely cargo. Okay. So far, do you have any questions? Okay. I can entertain any questions now. Okay, we have a question from Zion. How many flying hours does it take to be a CFI? Okay, CFI from an airline or a flying school, Zeke? The CFI is a commercial flight instructor. Are you referring? Okay, commercial flight instructor. I'll get back to you for the minimum requirements. I have not been updated by the latest requirement. Last time I checked, when I was still in the flying school, it was still around 250 hours. You need to be enrolled for a flight and ground instructor course. Then after that, you will apply for a license. And after that, you can proceed with your career as a flight instructor on a flying school. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mamayra. It's still 250 hours. Okay. Good morning, Captain. From Andre. Can I ask, what are the minimum hours and requirements for you to apply in the airlines? Okay. Very good question. Okay. So the airline industry now has a minimum requirement of 500 hours. Okay. How do you build up with the 500 hours? Again, either a flight instructor, or if you fly commercial flights. Let's see, charter flights, either a corporate flight or cargo flight. Yeah. Did I answer you, Andre? Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, next from John. Good morning, Captain. Is becoming a cabin crew first and proceed to becoming a pilot also a good option? Yes, we have a lot of cabin crew actually who are now pilots in AirAsia. Even in AirAsia Malaysia, they started as ground staff from the check-in counter. Then the AirAsia gave him or her an opportunity to move on to the next career. He or she decided to become a cabin crew. After being a cabin crew, he or she made a choice and changed a career path of becoming a pilot. I think he's now an instructor also of an Airbus 320. So yes, that's also a good option. If you change your mind, it's never too late. Some of my colleagues, 30 years old, 40 years old, they decided last minute, oh, I want to become a pilot. So it's not too late actually. The retirement age of a pilot now in the airline industry is actually 65 years old. So in my case, I have 34 years to go. Okay. Don't count don't count my age. So I have 34 years to go, and the extension is around 67. God permitting. Okay. Any more questions? How about health requirements? So if you have, for example, slightly not 20/20 vision, you are allowed to have corrective lenses, provided you have an extra pair that you will bring on your flight bag. And it is also written on your license that you have limitations with regards to your eyes. The usual question is also about color blindness. Unfortunately, colorblind is not acceptable in the airline industry because we are handling too much colors actually on the cockpit. The runway lights, the taxiway lights, on the cockpit, everything. Color is very important. But I have a classmate way back wherein he has weakness in a particular color, for example, color green. He took a therapy so that that color would be corrected. If you have a weakness in color, I think it can be done. Any more questions? As long as I can answer. Mamaira, do you have so far any questions?
Yes, Captain Mark.
Yes, yes.
Um, how many of the Air Asia captains were like actually not laid off, no, but just
Oh,
asked
okay.
to.
Okay, I get your question. Okay, so this year, this pandemic, unfortunately, we have colleagues that have been laid off. Really. Approximately around 30% of my colleagues. So AirAsia Philippines has actually 25 aircraft. Okay. Um, Now they're only operating around 3 to 5 flights a day. So in order the company to survive, we need to make the ultimate sacrifice actually. So it's so sad, but once we recover, we will immediately prioritize them for the hiring actually. Um, Not only AirAsia but all airlines in the world have done that in order to survive the next chapter. Uh, yeah. Welcome to the new normal. We have to adapt on everything. But in this case, general aviation is good. It's not too much affected. So it's a good opportunity actually now to start your flying career through either general aviation or flight school. Then by the time the airline recovers, it's your time to shine. Okay, so we have a question from Isaac Velasco. Captain, how many hours a day usually you fly? Like in usual day at work, how many hours do you fly? Okay, before the pandemic, uh, my monthly flying time is around 70 to 90 hours. Wow. But now, to be honest, 10 to 15 hours. So I've been busy with other things like taking care of my newborn son, um, acquiring new skills, okay, like in the revising of our operations manuals, the auditing, the checking flight safety, and etc. So you need to adapt on everything. You need to have multi-skill just to survive. Okay, did I answer that? Isaac Nolasco. Okay, thank you. Okay, for Gino Paulo. Good morning, Captain. Good morning. May I ask, when is the best time to start in a flying school, and what flying school do you recommend? Okay, very good question. So, fortunately, you have a flying school, Mamayra. So it's in Cebu, right, Mamayra? Okay. So it's a
Also
good
in Davao
opportunity.
Cap.
Ah, yeah, also in Davao. Okay, does Davao Airport still allow touch and go, or do you transfer other airports?
Uh, recently, they have not allowed touch and
Okay.
go. Yes,
Okay, so
we
good
do
thing.
it at Mati.
Yeah, okay, in Mati. Yeah, that's a good airport also. So good thing that your school has also a flying school. Actually, as I said, now is a good time to start your flying career slowly but surely. By the time the airline industry recovers 2 to 3 years from now, you have already gained your flight requirements. Then you can apply to the airlines. So lucky for you guys. I also handle pilot recruitment. So Mamayra can give the resumes to me. Okay. From Andre, Captain, do you have any plans po to apply in an airlines abroad? What tips can you give po? Okay, I had a dilemma of that way back. Do I apply as an expatriate pilot, or am I happy here as a domestic airline captain? Okay, you can ask yourself, are you happy? Not happy? That's why I stayed for 7 years in AirAsia, because I'm happy. I'm easily contented. I'm happy on what I do, and I can see my family here in Manila, and my colleagues. I'm very happy with them. I have a lot of friends here. So if you're already happy, you can stay. But uh, for some reason, you're not contented, you want to earn more, there's an option actually to apply abroad. Uh, I'll give you a quick idea. The salary here, comparing if you're flying in the Middle East or flying in China, is you will multiply it by times 3 or times 4. Okay, so if you're contented and happy, you can stay in the Philippines and pursue your flying career. Okay. Yes, Captain. Okay. Any more questions?
Hi, Cap. We have phone-in question. It's because we already reached the maximum allowed events.
Okay, okay.
All right. We have a phone-in question. How tough is pre-pandemic? This is pre-pandemic, Cap. How tough is the competition po to become a pilot daw sa AirAsia?
Oh, yeah.
How tough it is?
Yeah, that's a very good question. How tough it is. Actually, they are prioritizing pilots who have a multi-skill. That's how tough it is. If you are only concentrating, for example, you are only line pilot and you're not instructor, you have no other specialty, it is a disadvantage actually. So if you pursue your career, try. If you have an offer of being a ground instructor or flight instructor or any skill that is required in the airline, grab it without thinking. Grab it immediately, actually. And this pandemic, unfortunately, that's the competition, of what is happening. Okay, okay, thank you, Sir Dwight. Uh, we have another question. Captain, are you from Davao? If yes, are pilots required to reside in Manila when hired? Salamat po. Okay. Yes, I'm from Davao. Bisdak din. Okay. If yes, are pilots required to reside in Manila? Okay. So, as a pilot, you are also required to be based on other hubs of the airline. For example, we have base in Cebu. We have also base in Clark. We have a base in Calibo. Okay? You have no choice actually. If the company tells you to have a duty flight in Cebu, okay, you must accept it. That's one of the challenges of being a pilot. Okay? So you need to adjust where you are based depending on your flight duty. But actually, there's a rotation. Sometimes after 1 year, you will be based in another airport, in Calibo, another one in Clark, etc. Same with an expatriate pilot. If you're flying in, for example, AirAsia Malaysia, sometimes you will be based in Kota Kinabalu, in Kuching, etc. Okay. Okay, we have another question. Captain, do you think starting an aircraft mechanic, then pursuing flight school? Yes, actually, that's a good path. Pursuing an aircraft mechanic first, then go to flight school. I have friends who have done that. It has an advantage actually. You have very broad experience and knowledge on flying the aircraft if you have a background from an aircraft mechanic. Okay. Good morning, Captain. Do you believe for an individual, even though they are not that financially stable, but they have guts and the heart to become a pilot? Yes, I believe in that. Actually, some flying schools also offer uh, study now, pay later programs. And for example, if you really want to become a pilot, you can also apply the cadet program from the airlines or becoming an Air Force. Actually, it's free if you have financial disadvantages. Okay. From Zeke. Captain, good morning. Do you know any pilots who are wearing corrective lenses? Yes. Actually, I have friends with corrective lenses. What they do is, actually, you must declare it to CAAP when you do your medical that you have limitations, you have corrective lenses. Then they will write it on their medical license for your limitations. You need to have corrective lenses, either a contact lens, but you need to have a spare corrective lenses on your bag. Actually, it's an international rule. If you fly abroad, it is still required to have a spare corrective lenses. Okay, thank you. Okay. Hmm. Any more questions? Myra, any more questions? Ayan, Captain, can you comment about pilots who go type rating after CPL? Okay, Myra, currently, if some of the pilots were lucky after doing their CPL, they went for an Airbus 320 rating. 2-3 years ago, AirAsia requirement was only 200 hours. So we have pilots who are actually 200 hours. Then a 320 first officer already. Okay. But unfortunately, last year we have increased it to 500 hours. So the standard now is 500 hours for every pilot before they start their airline career. So how do you build your 500 hours? Either a flight instructor or you fly on the general aviation through cargo or uh, agriculture or etc. By the way,
So, Cap,
yes.
so Cap, the type rating training does not add to your total time.
It can add approximately it's around 50 hours on a full flight simulator, but you need to separate the information from your actual flying time and your flight simulator time. We also check that. How many is your actual aircraft flight time? How many is your full flight simulator flight time? So there's a minimum requirement. Okay. Any
Cap, I
more?
want to ask about the latest crash in Indonesia. What can you say about that?
Unfortunately, uh, it's too bad. I saw one of the investigations in YouTube last week on what happened. This the weather was actually a factor on the crash. Then disorientation of the pilots, and I think they have a perfect record from the airline, and the flight experience of the two pilots was good, but the weather played a very important role in that crash. So it's still under investigation. I'm still checking on what truly happened. They are checking the cockpit voice recorder on what happened on the cockpit. Imagine in less than 30 seconds, they lost an altitude of 10,000 feet. That that's a very bad scenario. We call that loss of control in flight, lock-eye, in the airline industry. Okay. Any more? Actually, I have a surprise for you. I have a video after this, so that it will inspire you to push through on your flight career. Okay, Captain, can you comment about pilots who go type? Okay. Any more questions? I'm happy that you have many questions. I'm happy answering everything.
Yes, and we're really happy that you answered all our kulit questions.
Yeah, I'm happy. Mamaya. Any more?
Students, no more because this is our last chance to ask from Captain Mark.
Hopefully, I can visit your school when I go
Yes.
home in Davao.
All right.
Hopefully, next year. Okay, can I ask po, Captain, if how much is an type rating for A320? Okay, I had my type rating 320 2011. It was approximately in peso around 1.3 million pesos. Now I think it's already 1.8 for the 320 type rating. Okay, so how did I afford that type rating? Did you remember that I flew general aviation and I became a captain on the Beechcraft Baron? I saved everything what I've earned as a captain. Then I used that money. I used that money to have my type rating for the 320 and join Zest Air. So lucky for me, I was given a break, became a captain. I saved, then paid for the 320 type rating. Okay. Okay, Captain, quick question. What is your scariest experience to flying? Ooh, scariest. I have one in when I was flying in general aviation. Actually, I was flying the Beechcraft Baron. I was flying solo, so I was the only one with my cargo. Okay? Then it was signal number 2 in Manila. Then a lot of traffic. My fuel was just enough to have an approach and landing. Okay? I just prayed and did my best. How was I trained? Then I made a safe flight and safe landing in Manila. Okay. Captain, is it better to take up Bachelor in Science and Innovation Technology or aircraft? Yes, it is better actually to take another course before pursuing your flying career so that you have a backup and you have uh, other skills that you can utilize in your career. Captain, sorry, last question ha. Hindi, okay lang. If you have any more questions. Is staying in Davao not an option when hard? It depends because some airlines have no base in Davao, so you need to adapt and adjust where the airline gives you the flight duty. Hopefully, in the near future, if there's a base for Air Asia in Davao, hopefully I'll stay in Davao. Okay. So can I ask po, Captain, if side stick, wow, there's a term from Airbus, side stick in a 320 is much smoother and comfortable than a yoke. What can you say about the difference? Okay, I just give you a quick answer for that. So if you're flying or playing an arcade, the 320 side stick is actually almost the same. There's no feel actually. If you are being hit by a strong wind, the side stick will not move, only the aircraft. Okay? Unlike the flying the yoke, if you're on a crosswind landing, the yoke will react accordingly. Okay. Can I ask po, Captain, if the side stick? Okay. Any more questions?
Cap, I have a question.
Yes.
When you hire pilots, do you require them to have a minimum of bachelor's degree?
Yes. In an airline career, you need at least a bachelor's degree uh, to pursue your airline career. If you are only flying general aviation, there's no need for any bachelor's degree.
Thank you.
Captain, how much is your salary? Okay, very direct question. Huh? Okay, I'll just give you an idea. Currently, the pandemic hit us very hard. My current salary is reduced more than 50% now, actually. Every one of us in the airline industry has reduced salary in order to survive. The airline to survive. So salary for the captain before the pandemic, the net here in Manila is approximately 400K. For the first officer, around 200 before the pandemic. That's net. Remove the tax and everything. But if you're flying as an expat, if you're flying in Middle East or flying Hong Kong, etc., you multiply that by around times 1.5, times 2, times 3. Okay. But if you're already happy with the current salary, with your current status in life, where you're living, then monthly, Captain, yes, monthly. Monthly, correct. Any more questions? Captain, I heard from some airline pilots that some airlines does not require a bachelor's degree. Yes, if you are flying general aviation, they are not requiring any bachelor's degree. But if you are pursuing your career in the airline industry, you need at least any bachelor's degree, any BS. Okay. Any more?
Yep, I have another question,
Yes, yes.
Kulito. Can you give us a ratio? Let's say out of your batch, out of 10, how many actually end up in the airline?
Okay.
Flying school.
Yes. When I started from my flight school, we were approximately 40 in our batch, 40 students. When we graduated 2009, it was only 15 of us. 15, 1-5. So as you notice, the competition is tough. Some are financially challenged. Some of my batchmates unfortunately did not push through being flying. Then on the airline industry, I think on our batch currently it's around 10, 10 pilots on the airline from Philippine Airlines, Cebu Pacific, and AirAsia. Some of them also are expatriates from Hong Kong, I think. Yeah. Okay, Captain. Okay. Any more questions?
I think we're okay, Captain. I think we have exhausted all our questions. Thank you so much for answering.
Okay, so before we move on, I'll give you a short video clip from one of my flights. Actually, this is a flight of 2021. My first takeoff of 2021 was January 1. As you can see, I still feel New Year. Can I confirm that you can see the video or picture? Let's start. So as a pilot, you have no New Year, no Christmas, no Holy Week. So again, this is January 1 this year, my first takeoff, first sunrise of January 2021. So as you can see, we still use a surgical mask in the cockpit. So this is runway 06 of Manila. I think I'm flying to Iloilo on this flight. Okay, last minute. Any more questions before I transfer the floor to Ma'am Myra?
Cap, I have a last question for
Yes,
you.
yes.
How about drones? Are pilots going to be obsolete because of drones?
Drones. Okay. Actually, the current technology allows the aircraft to be operated by only one pilot. But the aircraft manufacturers ask the riding public, are you comfortable with that? No. So they demanded to still have two pilots on the cockpit. So maybe in the near future, 50 years from now, pilots will be staying home, work from home, then fly the aircraft through their phones or something. But currently, the technology already allows the aircraft to fly by itself through the autopilot, auto land, so land by itself, take off by itself, taxi by itself. So the technology is already here, but again, the riding public doesn't want that yet. They're not yet comfortable with that technology. Okay, Captain, last question. Do you still feel excited every time you fly an aircraft? Yes, every time I fly, I'm always excited. I love what I do, and the best thing again is you are getting paid. Although some flights are routine, I always fly to Bacolod, fly to Iloilo, then every flight actually is different. Every landing is different. That's why I still feel the of every flight duty. Okay, any more? Okay, if there are no more questions, I will transfer the floor to Mamaira.
Sir
Thank
Dwight,
you.
over to you. Sir Dwight. Thank you so much, Cap.
Oh,
Yes,
how did you build up your so last now?
yes,
How did you
sure.
build up your self-confidence, Captain, in achieving your dreams? Okay, self-confidence. When I was new, I was in high school. Actually, I was a timid guy. Uh, I just had the mindset of getting out of your comfort zone. I didn't I didn't know that I would become an instructor or I would become uh, uh, handle safety or auditing stuff. I just went beyond my comfort zone and acquired new skills. That's the proper mindset. Don't be contented with what you have. Study, study, study. Then try to acquire or learn uh, any opportunity that will come to you. May libreng pagkain bang tapos ba? Yes, there's always a free food when you have your flight duty. Free food. Actually, kaap required the airlines to have free food for the crew. Ayun. So, pero minsan nakakasawa na din eh. Kaya we bring what you want. Captain, is it allowed po to use the gadget during cruise? Yes, provided it's on airplane mode so that will not affect any communications with the control tower. Okay, so actually what in the video is a gadget. It's an LPC, a less paper cockpit device. So we are already doing our computations in a mobile device in it's a Surface Pro. We are trying to eliminate any paper documents or documentations in our flight. So we are making good use of technology actually. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Captain. And again, thank you so much for all of your questions. And I hope that you had fun as well as Captain had fun as well answering your question. And I guess it's safe to say that this is the most number of attendees that we have for the webinar because we have reached the maximum allowed attendees for Google Meet. And there are a lot of students who are asking, sir, can you please ask this question? It's because I cannot log in as a Google Meet And thank you so much, Captain, for really answering those questions. And
meron pa palang gustong pumasok.
yes, Captain, due to some limitations sa Google Meet, we are only allowed to have 100 attendees for that.
No problem, Sir Dwight. We can have a part 2 if you want.
Yeah, definitely. But no worries, because this webinar is recorded, so we will be uploading this directly to our YouTube channel. That's ISET Events, and we will be posting the link as well on our ISET Facebook page, ASA Facebook page, and Student Council Facebook page for those students who are not able to attend, so that you can at least have a recap on what happened during this webinar. And I believe at this juncture, I would like to request Mamara to read the citation of our certificate. I will be presenting that. One moment.
So thank you again, Captain Mark. It was, we learned a lot from your presentation today, and all of us students, I'm sure all of them, if they can ask more questions, they would. And they have more questions, I know. So we will take you up on that for another invitation. So we'll just ask if when Sir Dwight will arrange for another webinar. So this is our certificate of appreciation to Captain Mark Willie A. Brito for your sharing of your invaluable experience and expertise as a speaker for our webinar on Path to Become a Pilot, given this 18th day of January 2021 from ISA. Thank you again, Captain Mark. Thank you so much.
And team of ISA. Wow.
Thank you so much, Captain. And again, that's it for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending and waking up early. I know that you others do have a class, but still you joined us. No worries. We already informed all of our program heads that for those students who will be attending this webinar, you will be excused. I already submitted the excuse letter that was approved by our president, of course. And for those students who attended, good news, it's because we will be giving out e-certificates. Please do fill out this form so that we will be able to give you your e-certificate within the week. So please do fill out that form. And Mamara, I want to give you the floor for the closing remarks.
All right. And so with that, once again, thank you, students, for joining us. Thank you again, Captain Mark. So thank you, Sir Dwight, for your office, for organizing this, and the SSC for helping you out. So with that, I will close this webinar, and good day to everyone.
Good day, everyone. Thank you, Cap. Thank you, Mamara.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.